So from what I have been observing, I see that there was this gradual progression towards understanding the Muhallatun community, or more specifically transgenderism and homosexuality amongst classical scholars. And I'm witnessing the engagement amongst these scholars trying to find answers. But then suddenly, after the 9th century, very few attempts have been made to build onto the research of classical scholars. Instead, the Muslim community seemed to have only relied on classical scholarly opinion and have not taken any research further. Because now that we've made this distinction, begs the question, what about transgender persons' rights to surgically align their sex? Surgically align their sex with their innate gender identity? What about the right to sexual intimacy or the right to even get married? It seems like we've not continued the work of classic scholars, and perhaps this is why we don't have clear-cut answers to these questions today in the 21st century.
Part of this conversation is to address those concerns. So now that we've established that the transgender person has the right to exist, we then would also have to look to consider their human rights. Now, most transgender people have this disconnect with their bodies, and they will only feel whole and complete when they have surgically aligned their bodies with their gender identity. And so we need to examine the permissibility of this within the Islamic framework. And so we place a lot of emphasis on body consciousness sometimes, yet the body is only an instrument that allows the person to experience or to have this 3D experience in this world. So what actually matters is the soul, right?
So to make a better analogy of what you just said, I'm assuming it's more like a vehicle that needs to take you to a destination, and if the vehicle's broken, then you will need to fix it, correct?
Well, that's a perfect analogy. And so similarly, if a transgender person feels complete and they've undergone sex reassignment surgery, then we should look at how this transition is positively impacting the soul, as opposed to adopting this limiting belief that, we cannot change Allah's creation. We change Allah's creation all the time. When a child is born blind or with polymelia, having additional limbs, we would allow the surgery because we want the child to function normally within society. So why do we not grant the same kind of permissibility to transgender people? And there are psychiatric and medical procedures in place that can ascertain whether therapy or medical intervention of any kind or a sexual surgery would be the right step forward if this is identified by a medical professional. And I certainly am not a medical professional. I'm an imam. Now, Orthodox Islam permits surgery to reconstruct the intersex person's private parts because there's physical evidence of an ambiguous genitalia. But we've not advanced to accepting that some physiological factors, such as genetics, hormonal imbalances, brain structure, prenatal androgen exposure, these are all factors that influence this transgenderism. So the concern is often, will the person function normally and without harming themselves and society when they have altered their bodies? And we have two individuals working in our organization who were born as female and have completely transitioned as male, and they are fully functional within society. So it's possible, right? And I mean, they are more masculine than I would ever be.